Hello, good evening, and welcome to the build-up show from the LFC Daytrippers. It is Friday night, and Liverpool play Burnley tomorrow at Anfield. With me, I have Keith, as always. Keith, how are you?
Good, and yourself, Gav?
Good, I'm very, very good. And alongside us is a good friend of mine, Jonathan Higgins. Jonathan, how are you, my man?
Gents, how are you both?
Good.
Yourself? We're all good. Liverpool are chasing I suppose, they're doing their best to chase a points total that probably will never be matched, although we said that 2 seasons ago when City done 100. But, you know, it's been not stop-start, but, you know, there's been games here and there where you think, are they actually going for this already? No. But they're definitely chasing it. They have Burnley tomorrow at Anfield. We're going to have a preview of that. We also have a couple of giveaways to do as well. We're from 3 Retro, from our competition that we ran the other night. A winner has been chosen by 3 Retro. And also there is a giveaway from 1892 Attire. They have given one of their followers on Instagram some merchandise, and they've given one of our people that watch on Hotmic a prize, which all will be announced later on. But I'm going to get straight into it. This show, of course, is brought to you by Paddy Power, a bookies, a website and an app. If you gamble, please gamble responsibly, and remember to do so with Paddy Power. If you're in the comments, please hit the like button, please hit the share button, put it across your social media. Don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, you know how it all works. Liverpool versus Burnley at Anfield. I'm going to put it out there. I think we're going to absolutely upend Burnley tomorrow. I'm going to say it nice and early. But Keith, I'll come to you first. Klopp, as in Klopp, kind of moved things around the other night against Brighton, and it just has me thinking, like, is he's just going for these games as he sees them, and whatever happens, or is it a proper thought out process that he's looking to mix these lads up as much as he can while still winning games? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Yeah, I think he is trying to throw in players like the likes of Nico Williams going in on left back. Was a tough debut for the young fella, but you know, Klopp still, he wasn't thrown the game by doing that. He was still going for the win, and he still had a good, strong team out. I think we'll see for the rest of the season, we'll see mix and match teams, but with the intent of winning the games and going and getting the points record. I think we'll see players like, we might see Curtis Jones getting a start. Maybe not tomorrow, in fairness, against Burnley, but in some of the other games, he might get a start, or you might get a second half. The only thing about Burnley now is they're a big bastard of a team. You know, they're a physical, strong team, and it's probably not ideal to be putting in Nico Williams, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, or any of the young lads. But we could see a Minamino, for example, getting a run, which will be interesting as well, because I think a lot of people are just curious to see him getting game time, even though this is not meaningless, you know, because we are chasing the points total. But it's nearly like a pre-season. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be good to see a few changes, and then a forced one as well that we'll be talking about, I'm sure, as the show goes on.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it now. Jonathan, there's one enforced change, and it's Jordan Henderson. He gets injured against Brighton the other night. We feared for the worst, but it looks like Jordan Henderson has said he will miss the final couple of weeks of the season, but his rehabilitation will start straight away, and he is more than confident of being back fighting, ready to go for if there's any sort of pre-season or, of course, the league season to start. I'm being honest, Jonathan. If you're going to get an injury that's going to keep you out for whatever it is, 6 to 8 weeks, get it now rather than 6 to 8 weeks time. It's unfortunate, isn't it, for Henderson, but it's one we can manage.
Absolutely, and in a weird way, obviously, you never want to see your captain now, who has been such a leader, really pretty much dragged the team throughout. And even in the last couple of games, we've seen a considerable, drop in tempo when he isn't on the pitch. We've seen that even recently. Even remember being excited. I think was the games are rolling into one now, but when we went with the 3, Fabinho, Keita, and Ox, you thought, oh yes, this is it. We're going to have a bit of attacking prowess. There's really going to be a bit more zip. It didn't happen. He just demands so much. So you never want to be without your captain. But you are exactly right, Gav. It's the perfect time, really. Even from his point of view, he's been, going flat to the mat for so long as well. Body probably needs a break as well. You go back, even think to the Barcelona games last year. He was on one leg, and he's been going for a long, long time. So the break will do him a bit of probably a blessing in disguise, as I said. And plus, the other thing with Henderson is as well is that he's not going to come back maybe like the likes of me or you, Gav, or other couple of guys and put on the pounds or whatever. You know what I mean? He's going to be training. He'll be back as fit as a fiddle come the start of the season. So there's no doubt. And then plus, I suppose the other tangent really, if you want to push on it, Naby Keita has finally been shown a bit of form. Here's a real opportunity for him just to put a marker down. We've seen flashes of him. I've openly said I'm a huge fan of his, and I do believe that he will be a great addition to the team because he just offers that directness, that bit of zip that we don't necessarily have at times in midfield. He's been putting a little bit of run together. Arguably one of our best players since the restart. Even the Everton game, where we were by and large we were quite dull, he offered a bit of directness, a bit of sharpness, and I've been very, very impressed with him. You know, he kind of hit the headlines with a lot of people in the Brighton game there midweek. Just the rapid sharpness. You know, people are giving out about Brighton saying they're making mistakes, but Naby Keita, he's in so quick.
Yeah,
he's like an absolute dog. Yeah, he's coming like, what are you supposed to do? Yeah, and look, I know the alternatives, you boot it long, but you know, he gives that alternative. And he's settling in, and there's a big opportunity now for him to put a marker down. I always felt that the kind of the break and that gap, although it was never good to be enforced the way it happened, it was a blessing for the likes of Keita, because his another season had just been kind of almost rolled off again. It had been injury after injury, flashes, then get injured, flashes, not really up to the pace, and he never really had the opportunity to get a run of games. Now is a big opportunity for him, and you know, all the talk about Thiago or whatnot, I'd probably argue that we potentially don't need him, but we have Naby Keita. He probably fits the system a little bit more. So big opportunity, and particularly the likes of Henderson as well. When the fact that it doesn't need surgery is the most important really thing. You don't want a player coming towards their end of their career having a surgery. More opportunity for things to go wrong. So no doubt Henderson will be back flying for next season when it starts. And as I said, a big opportunity to mix it up a bit more. Even Chamberlain in a weird way as well. He's been a bit sluggish since the restart. I don't think he's really taken his opportunities. You can argue played out of position. He's not really effective when he's up top. He needs to be coming from a bit deeper. But even when he has been a bit deeper, he hasn't really shown much to date. He's looked sluggish. So again, maybe it's the boot up the arse that he needs as well. So there's options there. We're not going to be stuck. But we're kind of relieved, but not relieved when we heard that news this morning.
Yeah, it's one of those where you don't want to see. You're right. You don't want to see an injury to anybody. But when you look at when you take everything into consideration, you're going, it's happened. Thank God it's happened now and not in a month's time, you know, that kind of way, in a training ground incident or something like that. And then you're looking going, well, listen, we're starting in mid-September. He's going to be out for the first 4 weeks of the season. Red Bull 1234-ish asks, where's Grizz? And then he follows it up with, I love you all. Grizz will be back on Sunday night. Grizz is resting his vocal cords because Grizz, after we passed 2,000 subscribers, now has to sing Fairy Tale in New York on Sunday's show. So he's resting up, and I'll check on him later just to make sure he's not messing. I did tell him that eating ice cream is really good for his throat, and he absolutely jumped at that opportunity. Just let me tell you that. The Keita thing is interesting. You know, it's widely known that I think he has all the tools to be an excellent footballer. Not to be an excellent footballer, he is an excellent footballer. To be an excellent addition to the Liverpool squad. Him and Chamberlain don't work. They need to be minded too much, and it doesn't work. But if you were to play Fabinho, Wijnaldum, and one of them and alternate them for the last 4 games of the season, I think that might be the way that you get the best out of them. It rests them enough, it nurtures them through games enough, and it gets them enough game time at the same time, because Keita is known for breaking down after could be 6 to 8 games. I'm sure some stats person will tell me it's actually an average of 5.46, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's so I think you're right. I think it might work. It might work out that Henderson is absolutely fine, but it gives those 2 lads in particular in midfield a chance to alternate, job share for the last 4 games, and without, you know, trying to go, he's better. It actually works perfect for them both. Keith, we go into this and we are on 92 points. Yep. We've 4 games left. The 4 games, of course, Burnley at home, Arsenal away, Chelsea at home, Newcastle away. So it's a possible 104 points. We can only drop 3 points over that period in order to get 101 and be the most points gatherers ever in the Premier League. what way do you see us approaching this? Now, I'm not looking for a lineup for you, but what way do you see us approaching it? Do you see us being similar to during the week, where we're quite intense starting off, trying to put the game to bed early, or is it one where you manage the game and your quality comes through?
I'd like to think we'll sort of go at them and blast them, to be honest. But Kev O'Sullivan made a good point in the comments that about Naby starting. He played the full 90, did he there? Or he's got a lot of minutes in his...
No, we didn't play the full 90,
No,
only.
60,
Did he? Oh, yeah, he played the full 90 before that, wasn't it? Yeah. But back-to-back games, it could be a bit of a tough one for him. But, you know, this is the chance, as Jonathan and yourself have alluded to. You know, he needs to take this chance and get those games. I'm a huge fan of Naby Keita. I think he's brilliant. And I think Jonathan said he suits the system. It suits the style of play that we have. But it's just durability with him. And, you know, if he keeps letting you down and keeps letting you down, not by his play, but just by his body not being able to show any resilience, it does get a bit frustrating. But I think he could be key for the rest of the season. And I agree with you, Gav. They cannot play, him and Ox can't play in the same team, right? And I was like Jonathan, when you see them in there, you're playing Villa at home and you think, oh, this could be good. You know, this could be the one where they click and then they don't. And it takes Hendo and Genie to come on to get the best, unlock Naby. I just hope it's not like that Villa game, you know, at home, familiar surroundings, just go out there. Burnley are a decent team, you know. I thought they'd be one that had struggled coming back after the lockdown, because I thought they might rely on sort of crowd and momentum and things like that. But they've done well, you know, so they'll come in with a game plan. We know what the game plan will be. We just have to play our game and get stuck into them from the first minute, you know, not try and work our way in. I think if you can get into them and force them into mistakes, because they're a good team, Burnley, but they're not the best football team. And I think if you let them settle into their style, they'll get comfortable like that, you know, and they'll be hitting long balls, they'll be hitting diagonals, they'll be looking for headers and all that. And they will be a threat to us. And it depends on their lineup as well, because I know people are mentioning in there cold sweat all over the place about Lovren being back in training. If you put Lovren into a game like this, people will be nervous and panicking as well.
Well, the algorithm around Lovren is that he declares himself fit. He usually does an interview, you know, within about 36 hours of kickoff, and then it all goes off the wall. Then, usually when he starts a game really well and decides he's the best defender in the world, and then tries to do everything, and it doesn't work out well. Jonathan, just on Burnley, before we touch on the football stuff, what do you make of this stuff around Sean Dyche? Because over the last week to 10 days, I think, and it could be a bit longer than that, I'm not sure, because it was only when I seen it, there seems to be an awful lot of talk around his future. I think a couple of players that were out of contract and were looking to kind of extend, you know, because of the COVID, and it wasn't extended, and he seems to have a little bit of, not a war with the club, but there seems to be a little bit of an issue there. Surely Burnley aren't gonna annoy him enough that he walks away, are they?
Well, there's definitely issues there, and as you said, with the most players that were out of contract with the normal football calendar year, automatically got theirs extended, just to cover the start of the Project Restart. But Burnley had a few players out of contract now. I think they probably had decided that they were going to move on, and it was at the end of the season. Jeff Hendrick, I suppose, from our point of view, the most high-profile one. But I think it appears that the chairman he looked at the table. He went, do you know what, lads? We're safe. I'm going to save a few bob here by not renewing these players for X amount. We don't really need them. We'll get by with what we have to date. And it seems to really, really piss Sean Dyche off. And you've seen him he hasn't taken the full allocation of the extended subs bench, and he's even thrown a couple of goalkeepers on there as well. So all's clearly not right there. The Sean Dyche thing, you know, he's kind of one of these players, you know, maybe akin really to David Moyes back at Everton, where he's doing really well playing a particular style of football with a mid-table team. But the next step up is going to be the biggest thing. And I have to say, I listened to an interview with Dyche maybe a month or two back. It wasn't a general football one. It was more about sports performance. I think it might even have been Jake Humphries from BT's podcast, where he was just describing about personality and sports psychology and stuff like that. And I have to say, I was completely taken aback with him, because the impression that he kind of gives on the sideline is he's there with his white shirt, it's folded up nice, and he spends 90 minutes roaring at the players, kick it long, get down the channels, win second balls, etc., etc. But quite the contrary, actually, from the level of even simple things like respect and building team spirit. I have to say, I was openly taken back a bit by it. But the challenge really is for him is he's like Burnley. They're an effective team, but when you see Burnley play in the flesh, and particularly at Turf Moor, they are a horrible, horrible team to watch. Literally, the simple things like it's great from their point of view, and he's very much getting the most out of his players, and they're pumped up to the last. And I can see why the locals would be so impressed, and there's pride and there's everything like that in it. But like simple things like the ball is played over your top, your man's running, you just stand in front of him, smash into him, and pretend it's an accident. You know, that sort of stuff. There's all these kind of dark arts to the game where they're just a horrible team. They can be very effective at times, particularly when they go along to the likes of Wood, and even like Rodriguez is in very good form now as well. I think McNeil on left wing is a fantastic footballer and a serious talent as well. But he spends most of his time as a glorified left back, you know, up and down, up and down, up and down. But the problem is, if you take a Sean Dyche and you take him, you say he deserves a kind of a big club or a step up in his footballing career. The problem for me really is Sean Dyche going to adapt and show another form of kind of football and style, philosophy, etc. Or does he try and replicate what he's done to date, which isn't really going to work at a top team? And the argument all really is he's getting the best out of his current players, but we haven't seen signs that he's going to be adapting a bit more. Because you'd imagine, like, say, even Roy Hodgson strikes to mind straight away. He did wonders with that Fulham team. Remember that Europa run? They were playing actually decent football. You know, they were decent enough to watch, but it was a particular style. Now, obviously, there was other bigger issues at the club, but his style of football, it just didn't adapt, even though he's such an impressive CV. You look, it goes back for long, and he served in so many different countries as well. But he was just like a fish out of water. And you have to fear that something similar would happen with Dyche here as well. If you were to, say, Mourinho leaves in the summer, say, would he be able to step up like that? I'm not particularly sure he would be. He would have to show elements to his management that I haven't seen to date.
I thought to be honest with you, when Everton were looking for a manager before they brought in not Ancelotti, the fella before him, Marco Silva, I thought he should have been banging Sean Dyche's door down, because the thing about Sean Dyche is he would have suited Everton down to the ground, because Everton loved this dogs of war thing. They loved that we go out and we bash people, and he would have literally Sean Dyche would have went in there and went, listen, I don't care how good you think you are, this is what you're going to do for me. A little bit like Klopp, but not on the same level, where Klopp comes in and says, you think you're going, I'm going to run you for 90 minutes and with the sole intention of upsetting the other side, and then we'll start playing our football. But I'd be absolutely amazed if Burnley don't do something here to appease him between now and the start of next season, because he would be a massive loss to them. I don't rate him as a manager in the way that, you know, he's done a great job. I don't rate him in the way he could move up, like you've just said, like if the Spurs were looking for a manager, or I don't know, if you want to move up, throw someone that should be in the top 6 or 7, and, you know, would he be able to? I think he's at his
West
level.
Ham or the Newcastle sort of level.
He's at his level. But like Burnley, I think could drop like a stone if he isn't appeased in some way. But it's just interesting over the last 7 to 10 days, going, the last thing you need as a club, whether you're safe or not, during this time of uncertainty, is to upset the most important fella at the club. It's absolutely
Charlton with Alan Kirbishley.
Yes.
It's a very similar thing. You know, decent, the mid-table team survived in the Premiership for a couple of years. Decided they wanted a bit more, didn't really like him, fell out with him, and God knows where they are now.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's just it's an absolute fit, and I think by the same token, Bournemouth are in that position where they think if they get rid of the manager, they drop like a stone. Whereas the manager is the reason they're dropping like a stone. They need to get rid of him. He's there too long. He's too comfortable. The players are too comfortable, and they'll be a championship team next season. And then Eddie Howe will still get the job because Eddie Howe can manage in the championship. But it's mental. Keith, back to you. We have these 4 games left. We're talking about experimenting and we're talking about this, but there's been a lot of talk around who gets medals, right?
Yeah.
Now, you have to play 5 games to get a medal, from what I know, right? But I think the club are given 40 medals officially.
You can get up to 40 medals, yeah. You can't get more. You can get up to 40.
Yeah, but you can go and make your own. Surely, where to get the major and go and get to make your own.
That's what City have done the last couple of years.
Yeah, but 40 medals, all right. Does it come down to where if you play 5 games or not, it doesn't really matter? He probably has 30 players and 10 staff that he give medals to. Are we making too much out of this? And the reason I'm asking is because there's been a lot of talk around, Harvey Elliott could have got minutes there a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
What about Curtis Jones? And Nico Williams got another performance there. He might get the 5. And does it really matter?
I suppose it doesn't in that sense. The club can do what they want really with getting extra medals made, as Jonathan said, City done, to get their guys. And I know Pep Guardiola is big into nearly making a community out of everybody. It doesn't matter what part you play in the squad, even on the coaching team. Everyone gets a medal. The fella who lies about the attendance is just as important as Sergio Aguero to Man City. Do you know what I mean? So he does have that sort of attitude of everyone getting a medal, so they made sure they got it. I think Klopp will do the same. Like someone put in their WhatsApp the other day, could have been Grays about Andy Lonergan getting a medal. And Andy Lonergan's as far away from me. I'm probably ahead of him in the pecking order to get a game for Liverpool.
I'd say so.
But I'm good. Trust me, you've never seen me playing. I'm a hidden talent. But
yeah. Very hidden, I'd say.
But I would, it's very much so. But I would
like
say,
Carragher, yeah, go on.
Well, again, another sporting legend. I'm just happy to be in that same sentence.
The same sentence. Yeah.
But the thing with Lonergan, he's been a very important part of the squad without getting anywhere near the team. And he's been nearly like I said this on a show a while ago, the goalkeeping team that they have there now. No one likes, we've all got the hump with Adrian, right, over how the Champions League and FA Cup sort of petered out. But Achterberg, Adrian, Allison, Queven Kelleher, Andy Lonergan, they do have a good team there, and they do have videos, and they, on Instagram, they do good sessions and all. And I think Lonergan is an important part. I would imagine Klopp would like to give Lonergan a medal. He was never going to get 5 games to earn a medal.
No.
But he's an important part of the squad. And we know Klopp is huge on that, as Guardiola is as well, on rewarding everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got extra medal. We maybe are making too much out of the 5 appearances.
I think the reason I ask is because, listen, if, Owen Burke says there, Klopp brings all the club staff, including canteen staff, etc., on team holidays with the players. The lunch ladies could end up with a medal if there's one left over, right? The reason I'm asking that is because there seems to be a lot of comment around young players or players on the fringe of 5 appearances.
Yeah.
And the only reason people want them to play is get medals. I don't want Harvey Elliott on a pitch to get a medal. I want Harvey Elliott on the pitch because Harvey Elliott deserves to be on a pitch.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not pushing him on. We seen it years ago in 2004, I think it was, where it was 10 appearances and Martin Keown was injured for most of the season and came back, and Wenger managed to get him 9 appearances, I think, and he played Portsmouth away. And he'd made 2 subs, and then Wenger pretended he was bringing on somebody else just to give Martin Keown the hump that he wasn't going to get to the 10th appearance. But that's the different end of the scale. That's a player near the end of his career looking for a medal. But Keith, I want Harvey Elliott, I want Nico Williams or Keanu Hoover or Curtis Jones or whoever to be on the pitch because Klopp wants them on the pitch and believes in them to be on the pitch. Not because, I'll get these 4 or 3 or 4 lads in as much as I can over the last 4 games to ensure a medal. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I do. I agree 100%, because one of the huge issues, and this is me putting my old man head on, is you don't want young players thinking they've made it when they haven't made it, right? And you don't want them thinking this is it. I've got a Premier League medal. Look, it was a bit of fun. Ryan Brewster with his Champions League medal when he went to get his hair cut last year after the final. You know what I mean? Great, lovely. That's what it's all about. You're part of the squad. But you don't want them just, being given that and thinking this is it. This is easy. I don't have to work. You want them to get the carrot nearly of, look, Harvey, next season, you could be, getting the games that Nico Williams is getting, or the games Curtis Jones is getting, but you just have to give us 5% extra and push on that bit more and making it a bit hungry. And everything about Liverpool that we know, is all about meritocracy, whether that be by, contracts where they're performance based, bonuses and all that are all, the base salaries may not be the highest, but the bonuses are huge, so it's an enticement to do better. And with Klopp, with training, it's very much, if you're performing well in training, Klopp will sort of put you in, which sounds very sort of, Leinster Senior League, but he does stick to it, you know what I mean? He does work on the training ground, so it's some I think it can make them too, not pampered, but I think he wants to reward them but keep them hungry as well. It's a fine line.
Yeah. Barry Devaney is he says that's some word, Keith. He's obviously really impressed by the word meritocracy.
Meritocracy, do you like that?
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a nice word. I like it.
Use that again.
Stu Max says Klopp and Pep are a class above in keeping people grounded. That's why the EPL will remain a 2-team league. The other managers are nowhere near their levels. They are elite. Couple of competitions we've had. Owen Burke won the one last night when me and Keith were sound. We started buying people jerseys. So he won that. But 1892 attire, I don't know if people have checked these out. They're on Instagram, they're on Twitter as well, but their stuff is deadly. I love it. They do t-shirts and they do caps, obviously Liverpool related. We ran a competition with them over the last, I'd say 3 weeks, where people literally had to follow them on Instagram and follow us on Hotmic. And seriously, their stuff is deadly. I was talking to the lads today. I was looking up their Instagram account. 1892 attire. There's some really good gear in it. They're coming out with new designs nearly every week. Now, on their Instagram account, there was a guy called Mark Holland, won for them. I'm announcing that. Mark is probably not watching, but it will be announced on their Instagram page. But Jonathan, I have a job for you. So what I done was Hotmic gave us 10 of our followers at random. And sorry, I have them on the phone here. And they sent them to me. And I says, what I'll do is I'll just get Jonathan to give me a number between 1 and 10. And whoever he picks wins. So, Jonathan, give me a number between 1 and 10.
8.
8. The winner is Megan McCallion.
Megan.
I think she commented here earlier.
Megan.
I thought she'd seen her at the start, but Megan McCallion, I think she follows us on Twitter as well, so I'll get Megan's details and I'll get her on to 1892 attire. She picks what she wants and the LFC Daytrippers will look after it. So Megan McCallion is the winner of that one. There is a 3 retro one. I'll announce that in a little while as well. There's a 3 retro one, which was the original competition we were running, and then me and Keith hijacked it and ran another one last night. But the original one we ran, we have a winner for that. But 3 retro picked the winner. We didn't pick the winner. They have picked the winner for us, which is cool. So we didn't have to put any work in. It was deadly. So yeah, Megan is the winner. She was on there earlier. I'm nearly sure she was, but look, she'd probably be in and out. But it's all good. It's all good. Let me see. What have I got here? Oh yeah, quickly. Let's talk of this before we go on about lineups and stuff. A little. Chris Brack asks, where's his confidence come from that City's ban will be exonerated? Now, this is obviously a preview of Liverpool v Burnley, but it is a topic of the day, so I want to bring it up. Jonathan, it's dragged on. That the whole COVID-19 has dragged it on even more. We were doing a show 2 nights ago, and there was talking that there's rumours coming in that they're getting their 2 years. They're getting the actual 2 years, and then today, I think. His name was Cheeseman, wasn't it?
Ian Cheeseman, yeah.
Ian Cheeseman, he's a journal. Yeah. He's a bit of a City cheerleader, yeah. But Jonathan, he's saying that City, the rumours coming out now that City will be completely exonerated. Pep Guardiola has quoted to say that he's seen the argument put forward by Manchester City and he's completely confident that Manchester City will receive no punishment and will be in the Champions League next season. What do you make of all this?
Well, where do you even start here, really? I'm not surprised with always with these big decisions, they get leaked out kind of a day or two previously just to soften the blow. There'll be comms back and forth with the clubs involved. And like anything these days, nothing is watertight, so it starts to eke out a bit, and it kind of softens the blow to what may or may not come. I'm not surprised. There was definitely no way in my mind, I know, that City were going to get banned for 2 years. That was never going to happen. I thought even 1 year might have been a push, but I wouldn't be surprised. You look at it like FFP, for what we know, is completely dead and irrelevant. I think we've known that for some time now as well.
Yeah,
the fact that Abramovich is starting to, when it looked like he had just gone the more sensible spender, save up the money. Now, a lot of it, of course, was impacted by their transfer ban, but even still, prior to that, there'd been a lot of measures put in place just to stop the throwing of the money around the place. All the loan players had been starting to sell off a bit. They hadn't been splashing the cash around a bit, and you'd gone and got things. And from a business point of view, I believe they've got a bit of a shape on them, and they were another mess. But the fact that he's spent the Werner money straight cashed out on there, and there's talk of a couple of more big high profile signings, that for me really is enough to know that probably the City thing is less and less likely that it's going to be impacted. I suppose ultimately, without being too cynical, there's just too much money involved in the game, and the impact that, while it would have been a big kind of sugar rush of a story, wow, one of the biggest clubs from a financial point of view are not involved in the European competition. It would have been fun to laugh at, and from our cynical point of view, it was never really going to happen in my mind, and it wasn't. Particularly when you delve a bit more into it, and the arguments that they had in about the evidence allegedly being obtained in a wrong manner, and as a result, pretty much that evidence is null and void there, and it kind of gets even stronger and stronger that it isn't going to happen. Like, if we kind of rephrase it from our point of view, like initially I thought when I heard, this is great, a couple of the players will leave. De Bruyne and the likes, they're probably not going to stay around 2 years without Champions League football at that stage of their career, having won a lot in a particular club. They might look to De Bruyne and maybe look at go to Spain or something like that and play in a league that he hasn't done to date. But from a Liverpool point of view, I think it's I think it's probably better that City are in the Champions League, because City without Champions League, that's their kind of distraction. That's their bit of eye candy at the end of the room at the moment, really. That's their obsession. That they, as a football club, need to start winning European competitions, and they need to rack up a few pretty quickly. Like, for the amount of expenditure that they have to date and the quality of coaching and players, it's actually laughable that they haven't won a European competition. It's just crazy. Like, you consider, even, I always go back to look at the 05 team that Rafa won the Champions League with, and you telling me the squad of City's caliber can't win one. It's just crazy. But I'm rambling on, but from that point of view, if they didn't have that distraction and they're just completely hell out on the league for the next couple of years, that would have left us, from a very personal point of view, in a very sticky situation, because you remember yourself, even a couple of seasons ago, when we went on that big rush where we didn't have Champions League football. Yeah. It was just league, and that was the priority, and it allowed us to get an advantage over other teams, where the rivalry is so intense. Like, City are clearly wound up by their lack of performance really to date this season, and Liverpool winning the league has completely rubbed them up the wrong way. You only have to look at some of the pettiness and some of the players' social media comments after the 4-0 victory. Like, it's I don't think it's in terms of kind of, you take the two clubs as a whole, Liverpool versus Man City. It's not really a rivalry in terms of the historical value. It's a modern day rivalry, but in terms of the pettiness, it's right up there, and the stuff with Sterling and a few others to like is really going to spice it home. And I suppose from the neutral, it's one hell of a battle between Pep versus Klopp, the two squads playing very good football against each other. That's a rivalry that's going to run the next couple of years. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I really can't see anything but them getting off with maybe a fine at the most, which won't really bother them. And to be honest with you, as much as I would have loved it, or if I would have loved it, I'm kind of happy with that scenario, I have to say.
Yeah, a fine means fuck all. Let's be honest about it.
No, well, it's particularly just pretty like.
Yeah, to any club, let's be honest, they're worth millions and millions and millions. Giving them
80 grand fine. Don't
80 quid and 3 penalty points. Like, you know what I mean? It's but somebody says there, Miguel Delaney has completely rubbished this, saying that CAS only give the club and UEFA their ruling hours before it's released to to the media and stuff like that.
The thing I'd say before we move on there, Gav, and Cheeseman is breaking that, and as Jonathan said, club will probably get an idea and start dripping it out and all that. But City have been very cocky and confident about this from the very start. So I don't know if I'm as believing, what's coming out from Ian Cheeseman.
I did read something. Saying that when this stuff is thrown up to City, their tactic seems to be to show complete confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
They don't say, we're going to go through this process and we'll see what happens. It seems to be complete and utter confidence and cockiness towards it. But listen, I don't even know if Man City fans can deny what's going on with financial irregularities. When they're spending 60 million quid or whatever or 11 million quid on plants for around the stadium, come on, for fuck's sake. It's crazy, but we'll have to wait and see. There is different ways too. If you look at it and go, City are out of the Champions League for 2 years, they're going to throw everything they have at the league, and that could affect us. If they get a year gone, they're still going to throw everything at the league, but you don't know. If they get 2 years, Pep won't be there. It's as simple as that. Pep lives for the Champions League, and he can say as all he wants and all this shit about how much he loves that City and stuff like that. Will you stop? He was at the club he loved the most, and he walked away. He loved it in Germany, and he walked away. And do you know what? He'll walk away because he doesn't like being beaten, and financial irregularities will have nothing to do with it because he doesn't like it when it's put up to him. It's as simple as that. He walks away from Bayern because he couldn't win a Champions League with them, because it was put up to him. And he'll do the same at City. But we'll have to wait and see. That's due out on Monday, but it'll be very interesting to see what it is and stuff like that. The argument that the evidence was found in the wrong way. The fucking evidence is the evidence.
Yeah.
It's found.
Well, that's what they seem to be pinging it on, like technicalities,
Yeah, but we'll have to wait and see. The other thing is, if they get any sort of reprimand, whether that's a fine or a ban or a suspended ban, the FA and the Premier League are going to have to look at it because they've been found guilty. Once you've made pay any money, you're found guilty. And the pressure then will be on the FA and the Premier League to do something. Then again, they mightn't be found guilty and on we go. But that will be the death of FFP and probably the death of UEFA, because if they want to be so big about what they're going to do and then this happens, I'm sorry, it doesn't really. You don't really last very long, in my opinion. But listen, back to the game. We are talking Liverpool, Burnley. Keith, I'm going to come to you first. Give me a lineup.
See, it's hard to predict the lineup at the moment. I think it will be obviously Alisson in goal. I think if Lovren's fit, Lovren will be playing this one with Virgil, with Trent and with Robbo. I think it'll be Fabinho, Gini and Naby. And I think it will be Sadio, Minamino and Mo.
Okay, interesting. Come back to you in a minute.
So a few changes.
Jonathan, give us a lineup.
Well, Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk. I still have a sneaky feeling that if Lovren, depending on how well he's trained and how fit he actually is, don't be surprised if he's thrown in. It's the physical presence against Wood as well. Yeah. Gomez, as much as we love him, has been flaky since the restart. He's a couple of bit edges off. Saw a couple of mistakes. Even Connolly skinned him midweek as well. There's a couple of scenarios there where he's just been a little bit off the boil. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lovren does slot in there. Robbo will be back as well. Fabinho, Keita. There's a lot of talk about Millie, but I'm just not sure. I'd probably go Gini as well. And I think he'll go with the three. I don't think he'll start Minamino against them. I think he'll go with the normal three.
Okay. I think he goes with Alisson. I think he goes with I wouldn't be surprised if he put Nico Williams right back, because
not against McNeil.
No, put him in. Put him in his normal position. You've given Robertson a little rest. Give Trent the same. And if you want to try Williams, try him there in his normal position. I'd go with Williams. I'd give him another run because
I'd love to see him.
He gets taken off at half time to the night, and listen, it shouldn't knock him. He's a young lad. He he's only had a handful of games away at Brighton. You know, their right back was absolutely flying. He was playing in a little bit of an unfamiliar position. I'd try giving him another go. I think Robertson does come in. I think it will be Van Dijk. I think it's a fair point on Lovren, because he's probably looking at Arsenal and Chelsea as his next 2 league games and thinking, I want to have Gomez ready for that. You know, midfield, I think it has to be Fabinho. Fabinho and Keita, I think, will definitely play. It's just whether it's Milner or Wijnaldum for me. I wouldn't have Oxlade-Chamberlain there. He needs to just keep. Oxlade-Chamberlain comes across to me as someone that needs to sit down and read the book on Liverpool again a little bit, as the way we play and what's expected. And that's not me lashing him out. It's just he looks a bit, game management wise, he looks a bit awful for me. But that'll come back. He's a great asset to us. And up front, I think we have to see Minamino at some stage. I think we do. But I think he goes with the favourite front three, especially with Salah chasing down a golden boot. I think, is he 4 off or 3 off or something like that?
4 off.
4 off. So he's 4 games left, and he'd fancy himself against these. He'll fancy himself against Arsenal. He'll fancy himself against Chelsea, and he'll fancy himself against Newcastle. You wouldn't be surprised if Salah put 8 goals up in the next 4 games. That's just the way he goes. But I think that might be the lineup. And while before I get your predictions and before we go to the last prize giving ceremony of the evening, let's talk about that fella. Let's talk about this fella. It's Mo. So what we do with these player profiles is we talk about the impact that these players have had on the season and with us becoming champions. Jonathan, I'm going to come to you first. Mo Salah, we seen the stat the other day, 140 odd games, 100 goal contributions, 2 goals, whether that's goals or assists, 100 and 143, I think it was. But what season has Mo Salah had for you?
Excellent, completely underrated player, and sadly, that's by us fans as well. Yeah. If he's in a different era, even 3-4 years ago, he's an absolute superstar, club legend, which he should be already, but I don't necessarily feel he is. He gets a lot of accusations from opposition teams for driving, etc. Which I think is absolutely laughable. I don't think he gets a fraction. I don't think he gets a fraction of the penalties that he deserves. And even midweek there again, like he stamped on again, and how it isn't a penalty is beyond me. Particularly when you see some of them absolute farts of decisions last night. But he's completely underrated. Like, these stats are from an inverted right winger. I know he's the license to slip inside it and the front, but it's just simply remarkable. I don't think we appreciate and we realize, and you see the stats and you think, wow. And the biggest thing really is, and I'm guilty of this myself as well, is you're asked the question, which one of the front three would you do without? And people usually they go, you'll keep Sadio and you'll keep Bobby just for the importance that they have the team. But we've seen it even in the derby, when he's not there, it's a completely different ball game, and everyone goes on a little bit over the top. And I think at times it's probably justified, maybe his selfishness, particularly when he's coming towards the tail end of the season, where he's just trying to hunt down a couple of more goals. And obviously the away game at Turf Moor was where they completely went to town altogether, and we had those kind of funny little scenes. But that's the type of drive, that's the type of players that, you know, brings your average players to the top level. And I think it's something that he's developed in himself after he kind of got kicked back in the teeth a bit after the Chelsea move, didn't move on. Like, he was knocking the lights out of Basel, comes to Chelsea. That's a good Chelsea side as well. They're still playing a good bit of football. They're throwing a bit of shapes. It doesn't work out. He goes off and, you know, he revitalizes his career, and he's come back so determined to prove a point, and he's just hell-bent. And even his interviews after the games, I loved his interview after Brighton there. He's like, we'll see, but you can see the level of determination across his eyes. And it's a game where he's scored 2 and an assist, but yet the only thing is in his mind is, oh, how the hell did I miss that header at the end? I should have put that away, which is great. And you can argue there's a couple of maybe phases of play. The one that comes into mind is where he's down the left, and he probably could have squared it to Mane, but the game is relatively over at that stage. I don't necessarily mind to see that. I like that bit of snide for too long. Liverpool teams have been too nice. They've been both in terms of the opposition and themselves. There hasn't been that drive. So I love that bit of now. You don't want to go overboard, but I don't think it does. I think a lot of his stuff in terms of that selfishness and maybe a little bit of the diving as well is completely over exaggerated. But what an absolute baller we have, and he's rarely injured as well. He's frightening. He's adapted well. Even in terms of, you wouldn't necessarily, when he came, think he's a good worker. He's going to track back. You saw him there even in stages. This is a game where he's chasing the golden boot, but he's back chasing. He's back putting he's shifting for the team. It's just, I don't really. I keep on, and the best way to describe him is we don't appreciate just how good he is. He should be almost have the statue built up him at this stage. And obviously, I'm going a little bit overboard, but compared to some of the players that are club legends, he is completely miles. And I think he's more to offer as well. And particularly if we do kind of tweak the system again, maybe next year, and get more Kate involved as the starting team, we can push on a bit more, where he can even play a little bit more centrally, even maybe as a two up front. There is a lot more options for him to go even more, but an unbelievable player, serious talent, and what a signing he has been.
I think it's interesting, Jonathan says there, Keith, that he's a bit underappreciated by some of our own fans even. I think that's a fair point.
It's a great point.
He and somebody else said there, if he didn't score the 44 goals in his first season, he'd be actually more appreciated today, because the level he set himself. Jono says there that Suarez praises him for being selfish. All the great goal scorers are. Keith, he clicks into a gear, doesn't he, at certain stages of the season when he always that golden boot and he decides, fuck this, I'm not passing. I'm just going for this now, for the last whatever amount of games it is. But what sort of season do you think Mo Salah has had?
I'd nearly echo what Jonathan has said. He's so underrated. We all underrate him. We all jump on the fact that he should have got a hat-trick against Brighton, or he should have passed, he should have rolled one across without thinking, well, he's at that bagging, he's at that getting a brace, and he's phenomenal. He is phenomenal. He's breaking records all over the place. He's breaking the records of absolutely wonderful centre forwards, and he's playing on the right wing. Jonathan touched on something about his Chelsea. He was phenomenal at Basel. He was being called the Egyptian Messi when we were trying to sign him back then. And he goes to Chelsea and he just doesn't get a look in. And Mourinho's the coach there at the time. And there was a few. I mean, De Bruyne, I think, was in that squad as well, and Lukaku, and they weren't getting a sniff either. So there was a lot of talent there, but they just couldn't get on the pitch. So he goes off to Fiorentina and he does brilliant there on loan. There's a bit of schadenfreude then. Fiorentina think they keep him, goes to Roma. But he comes to us and scores that amount of goals in the first season, and it's been held against him ever since. The penalty thing is disgraceful. And Martin Tyler, without going on to him, his carry on about Mo Salah, backed up by Jamie Carragher, I have to say, is nothing short of a disgrace.
You should all stop watching Sky, lads.
I know,
seriously. If Liverpool are playing on a Saturday at 3 o'clock, just come on to your IPTV that everyone has, right? And watch it on NBC, right? And then if it's on Sky, mute the fucking thing. Stick, I don't know.
I might just start doing Hotmic and commentate on it myself.
You know what? Just stick the bleeding Nolan sisters' greatest hits on in the background, mute Sky, and have a lovely afternoon with yourself. A bit of Joe Dolan, whatever you want it. Like it's I don't know why people listen to them.
But the amount of times they mention about him going down easy on stonewall penalties is disgraceful. And then,
but he was dragged back the other night, and Martin Tyler straight away, we're even discussing the subject, said, oh, well, he is known for going down easy under a challenge.
Yeah. It's terrible.
So,
but you see, Man United have got about 19 penalties this season.
Yeah.
Like, that's a phenomenal amount of penalties. And when you look at the amount of dives they've had, and nobody mentions about Bruno Fernandes going down easy, or, and I'm not trying to label Bruno Fernandes as a diver. I'm just saying he doesn't get tagged with that brush, but Mo does. And it's not fair. It's really not fair. He goes down maybe theatrically, but there's always contact.
But you have to exaggerate things at this stage.
Yeah, exactly.
And listen, the exaggeration is gone out of the game. You don't need, you can do it if you want, but the cold hard light of day is, see all these penalty decisions, they're all checked by VAR, right? So if you're caught, it's a penalty, But players always feel like they need to go down and exaggerate things. Like the Bruno Fernandes one the other day was off the wall.
Yeah.
He
One of the worst ones I've seen.
He puts his foot on the ball. He drags the ball away. He stands on the defender, right? Who goes down, and then Fernandez goes down. And he gives a penalty, which is mad. Now listen, I think Bruno Fernandes is a great player. He's playing really well for United. Although they've beaten, I think they've probably beaten 4 of the bottom 6 in the last couple of weeks, and all of a sudden I think they're
worried about them now.
They're awarding them the 1970 World Cup. I think they're that good, But for Salah himself, like for me, the season he had has just been. Do you know the way people say, "Oh, that's just Van Dijk's level"? This is just Salah's level now.
Exactly.
And he has, is it 18 league goals?
19.
19.
Yeah.
19. He must be around 25-ish for the season. I'd say somewhere around that. If you add that to the 44, and there's probably 30 plus last season, well, obviously he's up there, isn't he, with whatever amount of goals.
Well, he's got 100 in 3 seasons.
Well, he's got 100 goal contributions in 3 seasons.
Yeah, so 70. What was it? Is that just Premier League or?
Yeah, I think that the number of is Premier League, but he's way up there. He's a better scoring rate than Suarez had, Torres had. He wouldn't be far off. I don't know what it is with Owen and Fowler and stuff like that, but he's a ridiculous player. Yeah. He's an absolutely ridiculous player, and he can frustrate. When he cuts inside and he hesitates to touch and he tries to bend it, he can frustrate at times. But you have to remember, Mo Salah is committing that many people to him that when he gets a little touch on something, the chances of him finding you with a ball is minimal because there's that many fucking people around him. So he is trying to it's literally eye of a needle stuff, whether he's passing it or whether he's shooting, because there's that many people trying to get to him. He scores a goal at Bournemouth, I think it might have been the season before last, this 4th season it might have been, and he gets it down, way to Bournemouth, first half, he gets it down the inside right channel, and he cuts in and he takes 3, 4, 5 touches, and he just takes that little touch and bang, it's in the back of the net. He hits it across the keeper, and that's what he's trying to do all the time. I think he's a phenomenal player. He has he's 73 goals and 23 assists for Liverpool.
Yeah, outrageous.
So,
outrageous. Jonathan touched on something there.
He has to have more goals than 73.
73 must be Premier League.
It must be Premier League. He must be close to 100 goals for Liverpool now.
Yeah, Premier League goals, because it's if he got 30, and he got 30 goals in the league, didn't he?
Yeah, but like there's 44,
and he's
44
this season.
Yeah, I think
he's last season was
I think it is Premier League to Santiago. Can anybody give me his full appearances and goals, please? Just to follow up the statement that he's just brilliant. And listen, if Mo Salah stays at Liverpool for another 3 seasons and bangs in, if you add up his first 3 seasons, get an average, and he sticks to the average for 3 seasons, you have a phenomenal player. You have an absolutely phenomenal player over the space of what would be 6 seasons, and he will go down as, and I'll say it again, he goes down as a better player for Liverpool than Luis Suarez. I don't care how good Luis Suarez was. Salah goes down and will be remembered more than Luis Suarez, and so will Sadio Mane, and so will Roberto Firmino. But he's an absolutely phenomenal player. We done the competition the other night, 3 Retro, and the way it worked was you put your name in the comments and you done all this messing around, and it was grand. We got a load of people in. I sent the names to 3 Retro today. They said, yeah, verified them all, and I said, look, pick a random winner, just send me back a name. They did. The name that came back was Kev O'Sullivan. So Kev O'Sullivan has won the competition from 3 Retro. Kev, if you're watching, I think he is. I think he just put up a comment. Kev, if you're watching, you can send me a DM on Discord or whatever way. Basically, go on to 3. Just get me your name and address and stuff. Just contact me and we'll sort it out one way or the other. I'll probably just give you directly to 3 Retro and they'll look after you. But Kev O'Sullivan was the winner of that. One more thing, 1892 Attire. Go and check them out on Instagram and check out their website. But they've given you 10% off all orders for the weekend. If you go in and you type in LFC DT on your orders on 1892 Attire over the weekend, there will be a 10% reduction as well. Lads, I want to get to...
Can I cut in before you go on there, Gav?
Yeah,
sorry,
of course you can.
Because you shared this as well. 3 Retro have a sale on at the moment. They do 5 special offers of jerseys, and they have the Liverpool 1986 Crown paint shirt. Right. And I think it's works out around €20. Yeah, so if anyone's looking for that, it's a good deal. I picked one up earlier. Good stuff.
And they also have 10% off if you type in 3 Retro 10 in their website.
So it's well worth having a look at their stuff there.
Yeah, 2 deadly websites, 3 Retro and 1892 attire.
Yeah.
Lads, before we go, I just want to get your predictions on the game. And as always, I want a score prediction, but I want you to give me scorers because that's more difficult and we enjoy that. So, Jonathan, I'm coming to you. Liverpool against Burnley or Anfield tomorrow. Give me a prediction and the scorers, please.
4-0. 2 Salah, Mane and Bobby.
Nice one. Just to let you know, Salah has 148 appearances, 94 goals, and 27 assists in all comps.
Yeah, there's even one here as well. He's on 19, obviously, this season Premier League goals. If he gets to 20, he'll be the first player since Roger Hunt to score 20 plus goals in 3 consecutive top flight seasons. That's the level of caliber.
I mean, Michael Owen never got 20 in a season. You know, it's crazy.
There you go. I just wanted to let you know that because he's deadly, and anyone that
doesn't get enough appreciation doesn't get it.
No, he doesn't. Let me see. Avo says, do you still do the free bet, Gav? We haven't been doing the free bet. That's being honest with you. But we'll have a look at that. We'll try to get something in before the end of the season with Paddy Power. 4-0 from Jonathan, 2 from Salah, 1 from Bobby, 1 from Mane. Keith, what are you going for?
Yeah, so I was looking at the results since the football came back, and the last few, Burnley have 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. They're not big goal scorers, you know, they're scraping wins, but their first game back, they got absolutely marmaladed by Man City 5-0. So I think we're going to be looking along those lines. I'm going to go for 5-0. And I'm going to go for 3 for Mo, 1 for Keita, and 1 for Bobby.
Okay. I think, did I have 3-1 on Brighton the other night? I have a feeling I had 3-1 on Brighton, and I'm nearly sure I picked Henderson as a goal scorer. I might have to go back and listen to that.
It's all coming up roses for you.
Pin it to me bio across all social media as well. But no, I think you're right. I think Burnley are very low scorers. I think they're very basic in what they do. They can disrupt you at times, but usually when you haven't got the attitude to go and beat them, I don't think there's Liverpool side are like that anymore. And even if Liverpool are 10% off it, I think they're too much for Burnley. They're safe. They've nothing to play for. They're literally treading water somewhere around probably 11th or 12th, I think. No, Everton are 11th. I know that. I know Everton are 11th. I always keep an eye on the Blues.
Burnley are 10th.
Burnley are 10th. There you go. Just ahead of the Ev. But I'm going to go. Jonathan went 4. You went 5.
6.
I'm not going 6. I don't think I'll go 6. I'll take 3-0 Liverpool. I have a feeling. I think Salah definitely gets one. I think Minamino gets one.
Nice.
And I think I'm going to go Virgil for 1 as well. So there's the 3 players to go for. Don't put a bet on and then say, well, Gav said it'll happen. Degsy anytime. And then to get a twinge and go off and not be seen for 6 months.
Yeah.
But no, listen, that's more or less it. We're taking tomorrow night off because I think we deserve it. We've been working nearly every day now for I don't know how many weeks. We're back on Sunday. Myself, Grizz, Keith, I think Matt is settled down. He was messing about for a week or 2, but I think he's settled down back in Dubai. He's managed to find himself a flight back to Dubai, so I think he's okay. We are past 2,000 subscribers, and that means that Keith is playing the tin whistle on Sunday night and Grizz is singing, which so make sure you absolutely join us for that. You do not want to miss that.
I'd better get practicing watching that tin whistle.
You want to be watching, you want to be sharing, you want to be subscribing, you want to be hitting bell icons, you want to be putting all the reminders on. People keep shouting beep beep into the messages, right? And Jonathan's probably looking going, what the fuck is going on here? Basically what happened was, Jonathan, we were doing a show the other night. Well, I wasn't. I was watching the show and I kept hearing this beeping noise. And all the lads were like, what is going on here? And Grizz was just sitting there with the noise of his fire smoke alarm beeping because he needed the batteries changing and just was going on as if actually they won't be able to hear that. But one lad even donated £3 to him to get himself new batteries. So that's what the beeping's for. The beeping won't be back. Trust me, if I'm involved in any way and there's beeping going on in anyone's feed, they'll just be removed. No, they'll just be removed. You'll just hold to go up and sort it out. They're not on a podcast. So yeah, that's basically it. It's been a great show, Jonathan. It's been great to have you, and we'll have you on again soon, I'm sure. Thanks a million. You still there?
I think you got the phrase.
Yeah, I think he froze a bit. Did he? Yeah.
He's back. He's back.
No, he's back. Jonathan, thanks a million for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, guys.
We'll have you on soon. Absolutely.
Nice one, Jonathan.
Keith, I'll talk to you on Sunday, yeah?
You will indeed. You will indeed.
Good stuff. Yeah, so that's it. That's been the build-up show from the LFC Daytrippers. Congratulations to Kev O'Sullivan, who won our 3 retro competition. Congratulations to Megan McCallion, who won our 1892 attire competition. And of course, I will contact them too in the next half an hour or so and organise everything with them. It's been an absolute pleasure. As I said, don't forget, if you miss Sunday, it's your own fault. Over and out.